in tonight's news. Joy, but not yet freedom.
It seems that it's flawed in a sense that I'm not getting out today.
David Milgard pins his hopes on the Supreme Court. The PM makes a prediction.
It'll probably rain liberally.
Mulrooney, the morning man, campaigns against negativism. And 10,000 tanks all in a row. All camouflaged and no place to go.
CTV News with Lloyd Robertson.
Good evening. The case has been reopened, but the central figure is still behind bars. That's where things stand for David Milgard tonight. Justice Minister Kim Campbell said today that the Supreme Court of Canada will review his murder conviction. Milgard's mother has been fighting for this chance for years. The entire family is overjoyed. But there is just a tinge of disappointment as well. Milgard was 17 when he went to jail. Now he is 39. He was hoping he'd be out of prison for Christmas. Dana Lewis reports.
On the grounds of Manitoba's Stony Mountain Penitentiary, with his mother at his side, David Milgard said he felt closer to freedom today than he's been in 23 years.
The decision is good. It seems to be political.
We'll fix the hole. We've got the decision.
The hole in it, he explained to reporters, was he watched his mother and sister. He wanted finally to be out of prison and at home with his family.
I should be able to be out on bail, and although the decision's good, they haven't made that possible. This is a difficult case.
At her news conference in Toronto, Kim Campbell indicated Milgard would remain in custody until the Supreme Court rules. Her decision to send his case to the High Court was no indication, she said, of his guilt or innocence. The court must decide if his conviction for the 1969 murder of Gail Miller constitutes a miscarriage of justice, and if so, what should be done about it.
There will be an opportunity for the public to understand the complexity of the issues and to understand why it is that I need to seek the court's advice.
We know he's innocent, and all of Canada is going to know it after the Supreme Court sees this information.
Milgard himself pointed out today it is the second time this year Campbell and her department have looked at his case. Earlier, she rejected his plea for a new trial.
Well, I think the facts will show, that there's been a lot of irresponsibility. There's no two ways around it. Some heads will fall.
His lawyers say they will prove Milgard's innocence by citing new evidence that points to another man who lived near Miller. Larry Fisher, currently in prison for sexual assaults, has denied any involvement in the slaying.
We will try to establish that Larry Fisher committed a crime.
And while there is much ahead of him, David Milgard feels he has won a major victory by having his case reopened. He was allowed to attend this celebration at his lawyer's Winnipeg office today. For now, permitted just this slice of freedom. As David Milgard gets closer to freedom, he says his time spent in prison has become all the more difficult to bear. He's asked his lawyers to push the Supreme Court for the earliest possible hearing date, but it will likely be spring before Canada's highest court decides the fate of David Milgard. Dana Lewis, CTV News, Stony Mountain.
In spite of the hurdles remaining, this was a joyous time for the whole Milgard family. I asked David's mother, Joyce Milgard, how she and her son greeted each other this morning when they both knew this was that long-awaited special day.
We did it, David. We did it. And that, it was just such an emotional experience for all of us. We're just so overjoyed. I can't begin to tell you.
What has kept up your spirits during these long months and years?
I guess it's faith that finally we would have the right answer and the right decision. I've gained a lot of strength from the Bible, and that's really pulled me up there on the bad days. A lot of my faith has come true from the Canadian public. The letters that I've been getting have just been incredible. Just everyone writing in, and mothers saying, how supportive they are.
Being a mother, you would naturally believe in his innocence, but how could you be so sure?
As a mother, I believed him with my heart. But when in 1980 we actually went out to the scene of the crime and we saw the crime scene, went through it, and went through the transcripts, I knew it intellectually with my mind, and that was the end of it. I mean, there was no way I could give up then. We just had to keep on going. The whole family was fired up at that point, and we've never stopped since.
Of course, you didn't get everything you wanted today, Mrs. Milgard. What are you hoping for now?
Oh, definitely. What we could have asked for that was more would be for a provision for David to be out with us today to take him home, but that didn't come. Maybe it will. Maybe they'll be able to do something really quick to let us have him out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The jury is still out on the Canadian economy. It appears to have stalled again. Statistics Canada said today that output grew in the third quarter, but only at an annual rate of 0.9%. And that's not sustained recovery. The government agency said the gross domestic product, that's the total economic output, in other words, grew by a bare 0.2%. That number applied the brakes to the earlier second quarter recovery. Also, a jump in imports and a slump in exports caused the current account deficit to grow to a record $6.3 billion, as we bought much more from abroad than we were able to sell. There were no apologies for the economy from Brian Mulroney today, not the Ontario economy anyway. The Prime Minister was in Toronto for talks with Premier Bob Rae, who is not happy about yesterday's federal grant to Quebec. But that's just one problem in a bush full of thorny issues the Prime Minister is facing right now. And as Diana Bishop reports, he appeared to enjoy getting his day off to a softer start.
At 8 a.m., this is CFRB 1010, Toronto.
Toronto listeners tuned into a new morning man.
Well, today rain continues throughout the afternoon. In fact, you could say it'll probably rain liberally.
The Prime Minister is carving out a different image for himself, one with a common touch.
I think the Saints are having their best season, probably since Archie Manning.
Nice change of pace for the PM, but his co-host told him not to take it too seriously.
Here's the tip from the newsroom. Don't give up your day job.
Wow, hey.
When the fun and games were over, Mulroney switched to the other side of the microphone, the hot seat.
When you meet with Premier Bob Rae, what will you do to show him that no other sector, no other province is being favored more than the vital province to Canada's future
I don't
of
have to
Ontario?
prove anything to Bob Rae. I'm not here to prove anything to Bob Rae. He knows full well that I'm committed to the national unity and to the well-being of Ontario.
The Prime Minister and Bob Rae talked over their differences at Queen's Park. Rae pressed Mulroney for money for his ailing economy. But when the two emerged, there were no fresh handouts for Ontario.
The Prime Minister was also clear on the fact that there was limits to what the federal government could do given its overall economic position. And all I can say is we are going to continue to press very hard, as the Prime Minister would expect me to do.
Mulroney made no apologies for his record on financial aid to the provinces. He said they're all getting their share, Quebec included.
I found it a little strange that some people in Ottawa would criticize a regional development plan jointly with the province and the federal government when $140 million was being spent in a province of 7 million people.
The two promised to meet more often, an effort perhaps to smooth out what has been a stormy relationship. After all, the Prime Minister needs the Premier of Ontario as a constitutional ally. Diana Bishop, CTV News, Toronto.
Still to come in tonight's news, 10 seconds of terror. A narrow escape from oblivion. But first, arms and demand.
I do not know if the arms were on that plane.
Fundraiser comes home from Croatia.
Because eating well is the right thing to do, the Quaker Oats Company has proudly brought wholesome, natural goodness to Canadians since 1901. Tonight's news is brought to you in part by the Quaker Oats Company.
Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Grandpa. Wish me luck on my test.
Good luck.
She's nervous. Oh, I wish I could take that test for her.
You did all you could. She's out that door. She's on her own.
Well, she had a good night's sleep.
And hot Quaker oatmeal at breakfast. That'll stick to her ribs and warm her up. And no cold cereal could do all that. You feel better?
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
Quaker oatmeal, ready to serve. It's the right thing to do.
When hemorrhoids itch and hurt, it's because of the swelling. So that's why I use Preparation H. You see, Preparation H shrinks swollen hemorrhoids. And when you reduce the swelling, you relieve the itch and pain.
Preparation H shrinks hemorrhoids.
It's really that simple.
A Quebec court heard Wednesday on the right of a patient to refuse treatment. It's the case of Nancy B. She is almost completely paralyzed. The respirator that keeps Nancy alive. Lawyer Anne Lapointe argued that the woman's right to refuse treatment is guaranteed under the Quebec Civil Code and the Quebec and Canadian Charter of Rights. Lapointe said she did not deprive her of freedom of choice. Quebec government lawyers supported that position. They said criminal code provisions on assisted suicide were written before the development of life-sustaining technology. The hearing will resume on Monday with submissions from hospital lawyers. A Canadian caught up in Yugoslavia's civil war is back home today, home he thought he might not see for years. Anton Kikash was arrested by the Yugoslav army in September and spent 3 months in a Belgrade prison. He was accused of trying to smuggle arms to Croatia, the republic fighting for independence. But today, Kikash insisted the charge was unjust. Peter Murphy reports.
Anton Kikash returned home to Toronto today claiming his innocence. He said he was not involved in smuggling guns or raising money for arms for Croatia. But when asked how he came to be on a cargo plane loaded with 19 tons of arms, Kikash was evasive or refused to answer.
At this point, I'm not going to go into great details.
Kikash spent 86 days in the custody of Yugoslavian authorities before being released in a prisoner exchange. In an interview in Zagreb this week with the Toronto Star, Kikash was quoted as saying the $1 million he spent on the arms was a gift, a donation. But at a news conference today, Kikash wouldn't confirm he made that statement. He even went so far as to say he never saw the arms.
You don't need to laugh, sir, but you should give respect for my answer. I'm saying to you that I can swear by Bible that I did not see, and as of today, I do not know if the arms were on that plane.
Kikash admitted he had in the past raised millions of dollars in Canada for Croatia, but insisted it was for cultural purposes. During the Civil War, the Croatian community upheld many fundraising dinners and events like this one. But Croatian Canadian leaders insist none of this money is for arms.
That is a lie. It is a lie in order to put, again, the image of Croatians.
Anton Kikash says he may tell more of his story later. But for now, his actions may have confirmed suspicions in the Serbian community that some Croatian Canadians may be involved in more than just supplying humanitarian aid to Croatia. Peter Murphy, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, talk about being frozen with fear. Some BC mountain climbers had a few chilling moments yesterday when they just missed getting buried under tons of snow. It happened on Hudson Bay Mountain near Smithers in the BC interior. They were checking out the scene of an avalanche that killed a man on Wednesday. Suddenly, a shout from a lookout sent them scrambling. You can see them running away at the bottom left of the screen as the snow roars down.
Yeah, we're out of here. We're just going to get our packs and take off. Give me a radio check. Radio check. Yeah, we're still here, good.
Thank God for that, mate.
The avalanche crashed where they had been standing just seconds before. It's a miracle no one was hurt. A waitress who was fired because she was pregnant has won more than $13,000 in compensation. The Ontario Human Rights Commission said a strip bar discriminated against her because her pregnancy showed. Sherry Middleton was 3.5 months pregnant when she was fired. Now, 2.5 years later, she's been awarded $11,000 for lost wages and $2,500 in damages. Coming up on the Friday File, cars that climb stairs. But just ahead, unnecessary firepower. War surplus without the war. And should Crimea stay with Ukraine?
Yes.
A Russian enclave ponders its future.
Quaker Harvest Crunch is so jam-packed with good things, we're convinced you can see the goodness even with your eyes shut. Come on in here, Shirley, if you wouldn't mind. Right over here, yeah. Now, Shirley, tell me if you can, in 10 seconds, 5 of those yummy things and win a lifetime supply of Quaker Harvest Crunch. Are you ready?
Great.
And go.
Oats, wheat, honey, raisins,
And there's that buzzer, Shirley. Too bad. Quaker Harvest Crunch. Goodness, you can see.
I don't think that was 10 seconds.
This was.
Mr. Scrooge.
Cratchit, how did the children like the toys I sent?
I knew it was you.
Sir, this Fisher-Price Action Workshop. You shouldn't have.
Bah! I only paid $49.79 for it at Canadian Tire.
And these assorted baby-faced dolls. Your generosity overwhelms me.
Nonsense. They were just $24.99 each. And this is for you.
Do play us a carol, Tim.
Canadian Tire lets you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
Good evening. In Oshawa, lawyers' bankruptcy leaves creditors owed millions of dollars.
Apartment hunting season up in Toronto.
And details on the Leafs North Stars game tonight on Night Feed.
In real estate, as with all things in life, the cream rises to the top. Those agents who are full-time, experienced, and who are the top producers end up where they belong. With Remax. Above the crowd.
Coming up to Christmas, the smartest families do their shopping at Kmart. Take your pick from 2 beautiful Corning Open roasters at one low price. A Wilkinson Stay Sharp knife set with choice of bonus $27.97. This complete 5-piece oven-safe bake set costs only $19.97. Unique and delightful holiday gift baskets from $7.47 to $12.47. Kmart, the quality you need, the price you want.
Here is a story that may seem familiar. A 31-year-old Quebec woman named Sylvie Roy is wanted by Italian authorities on charges of importing heroin into Italy. Roy has been arrested in Brussels and faces deportation to Italy. What is familiar about the case is that Roy's mother and aunt had a similar experience in 1986. Roy's mother, Michelin Levesque, and Levesque's sister, Laurence, were arrested at a Rome airport. The authorities found heroin in what became famous in the Montreal tabloids as the red suitcases. The women said they had no idea how the drugs got into the suitcases. They pleaded not guilty. Implicate Sylvie Roy. In what used to be East Germany, economic hardship is everywhere these days in spite of unification. But one thing the former republic boasts in plenty is military hardware. And we're not talking small potatoes here, but armored vehicles, ships, and planes worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The trouble is, any attempt to sell the brand new war machines would be a political hot potato. Jerry King of ABC News has more.
Several former East German military bases are now little more than high-tech parking lots. They contain over 10,000 sophisticated Soviet-made tanks and armored vehicles, and 300,000 tons of ammunition, more than 40 times the amount stored by the West German Army.
I can't recall any instance in history where an army was taken over lock, stock, and barrel without having fired a shot in anger. So there was a complete arsenal that had to be taken over.
A complete arsenal that included more than 70 ships and some 400 combat aircraft. But the recent arms reduction agreements have turned virtually all of this into a white elephant that Germany must get rid of. But what to do with it? Sell it? To whom? There's no shortage of potential buyers. At least 27 countries have expressed an interest. But it's a political hot potato, one that has burned the Germans in the past.
The German problem is that many German weapons that were sold elsewhere were wrongly used.
You should not take part in the militarization of the Third World.
The alternative is to destroy all the old East German arms. That will cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Even so, many Germans would call it money well spent to avoid the specter of German weaponry once again in the wrong hands. Jerry King, ABC News, Berlin.
A critical vote will be held in the Soviet Union this weekend, one that could shape the future of what's left of that country. The people of Ukraine, the second largest republic, will decide whether they want to stay in the Union or form their own independent state. For most Ukrainians, the chance to set off on their own is a dream come true, a chance finally to cast off 300 years of Russian rule. But that's not how everyone sees it. In one part of Ukraine, they are dreading the prospect of separation. It's in Crimea, the southern tip of the republic, on the Black Sea. The people there are more Russian than Ukrainian and believe they have much to fear from independence. CTV's Alan Fryer has that story.
Along the boardwalk of this historic tourist town, rickety speakers belch out the latest Russian hits. In the cafes, the talk in Russian is about leaving Ukraine, if Ukraine leaves the Union. Crimea actually belonged to Russia till 1954, when Nikita Khrushchev simply gave it to Ukraine, a sort of goodwill present. But there are few signs of Ukrainian influence here, and the Russian majority in Crimea wants to keep it that way, wants nothing to do with an independent Ukraine.
Нет. Crimea has never been part of the Ukraine. It was presented, given, as a gift, as a present, as a souvenir.
The big fear here is that the leaders in Kiev, the same ones who will likely lead Ukraine to independence, that they remain committed communists. Change their name, maybe, but not their ways. The Crimeans are struggling to build a free market economy here. Privatization is well advanced. Small businesses are starting to flourish. This school is being built by private businessmen, and so are these houses. The plan is for a small, self-contained community of about 200 private homes. It's just a start, but it's a first in the Soviet Union, where most still live in state-built, state-owned apartment blocks. In Simferopol, the capital, businessmen have banded together to push Crimean independence and to save its fledgling market economy. Valery Averkin is a leading Crimean businessman. In Kiev, he says, they are centralizing everything. They will destroy our businesses. And they speak harshly here about the growing tide of Ukrainian nationalism.
Our people against nationalists, Nazis in Ukraine.
Crimeans will soon hold their own referendum on independence from Ukraine. But far from certain is whether Kiev will let Crimea go. More troubling, how far will Kiev be prepared to go to keep it? Alan Fryer, CTV News, in Crimea.
He said he made a movie career as the guy the leading lady turned down. But there was much more than that to Ralph Bellamy's 6 decades in film and stage. The actor died of a lung illness in Los Angeles today at the age of 87. Morton Dean reports.
Ralph Bellamy rarely played the leading man, so it was that he rarely ended up with the leading lady. Ginger Rogers was among those who said no.
Oh, Tony.
This isn't Tony, it's Dean. The kid from Chicago who ran away from home when he was 17 to make it big in show business, made it big, but it took a while. Before stardom came apprenticeship, failure, lean time, a daily diet of food, a couple of flops on Broadway. He was to become as versatile as he was enduring. Some laughs in trading places.
I mean, I'm sorry about that.
Perfectly all right, William. It was your vase.
Some chills in Rosemary's Baby.
Nothing but a mild sedative to calm you down.
His most challenging and most acclaimed role, FDR, for the Broadway role, he won a Tony, and later Bellamy starred in the movie.
I think if the Democratic Party is going to stand, it's got to stand for something big and noble.
He played President Roosevelt again on TV's Winds of War. In 1987, he received his only Oscar, an honorary award for a lifetime of work, including 100 films.
Love to be able to say that I'd worked with everybody in the business.
The feeling was mutual. Morton Dean, ABC News, New York.
More news when we return.
Oat squares, why do you eat that stuff?
Whole grain oats, wheat.
So the taste has nothing to do with it.
No way.
With the pace of change in today's world, building a high-quality performance sedan and making it affordable has become a manufacturer's dream. Now, It's a reality. Introducing the all-new 16-valve double overhead cam Elantra. With the proof that at today's Hyundai, we're picking up the pace.
Okay, so let me think about it. It's not the taste per se, but the,
Nutrition.
Look, will we book the vacation when I get home?
You guys agree?
I've got to make this meeting.
We'll talk next week.
Bye-bye.
John!
Hey!
Where are you off to?
Oh, meeting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I try to meet with our regional managers every month or so.
Yeah, we do that.
Every month?
Well, no, actually, we do it every week.
Every week?
I just did it now, teleconference call.
Teleforum, video forum, and dial-up video.
You just did your teleconference thing. What are you doing here?
Dad, Mom says we gotta go.
Vacation.
Teleconference services from Bell. Long-distance business sense. Call us.
Okay, I love it. Oat squares taste great.
Oh, honey, Mom's invited us to dinner.
Can't wait.
As Christmas gets closer, the perfect choice is home hardware.
12 drills are drilling, 11 cups are brewing, 10 toasters popping, 9 lights are flashing, 8 razors buzzing, 7 irons pressing, 6 kettles steaming, 5 phones that ring, 4 pots are boiling, 3 boards are playing, 2 blenders mixing, and a dealer in a red tee.
That's me! Save $20 on Makita's 3/8 cordless drill kit with extra battery, only $169.99.
For a gift you'll be proud to give.
All right, we made it through another week. We deserve a bit of a break, so it's time to pull out our Friday file. In it are some of the unusual or off-street items that get buried by the crush of other more traditional news the rest of the week. Our first stop tonight is Japan. No, don't step on it. It's not a giant bug. It's a car. One of the entries in Toyota's annual contest for unusual car designs. There is also the so-called vehicle Skyner. It can drive along a road or attach itself to a monorail, but the envelope, please, the gold medal, went to the so-called Delta Beetle. Now, this car can climb stairs. Handy if you want to take your car up to your apartment, I guess. Next stop, Las Vegas, where Noelle, a rare white tiger, discovered the joys of motherhood. She gave birth to 4 healthy cubs. Her owner is overjoyed.
This species will survive the next generation.
White tigers are nearly extinct. Only 23 purebreds are known to remain in the world. And you'll have to brace yourself for the last item in our Friday file. It hails from Greenfield, Wisconsin, where they give new meaning to the term bowling tournament.
That's the only way to win. Use the old noggin. Only way to win.
Body bowling is a Thanksgiving tradition. We never do quite see everything, do we? And that's the kind of day it's been on this November the 29th. Sandy Ronaldo will be here on the weekend, and among other things, we'll be following the vote on independence in Ukraine. And on World AIDS Day on Sunday, a focus report on the search for a new AIDS vaccine. I'm Lloyd Robertson. Now, for all of us here at CTV News, good night. Have a very good weekend.
Scrooge, Sunday on CTV.
In the news tonight, slick roads led to a Friday slush hour. Accidents were reported right across Metro as highways were dangerous. Night beat is next.
Leon's Editions, take 4.
Ho, ho, ho.
Next.
It's Leon's Ho Ho Hold the Payment.
Ho, ho, ho. Next.
Get the furniture you need for the holidays with no interest and no payment till June.
Ho, ho, ho.
Leon's Ho Ho Hold the Payment. No matter how you say it,
Yo, yo, yo.
it's just a better way to buy furniture.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Thanks a lot. Ho, ho. We'll be in touch.
Ho, ho, ho.
Really.
Not all that long ago, the rules were clear. Dads went to work, moms raised the kids. But times change. Now dads have to be moms and moms have to be dads. And isn't it nice to know some of you can have a real sit-down dinner when one of you isn't there. Swanson, we make real meals for real life.